Welcome. Welcome to Deep Secrets Show. I'm so happy to greet here my beloved life partner in, I would say, not in crime, but in happiness, in changing the world, and really focusing what's needed in life. And also like this, what happened today when we had the operational day to set up the venue, we had a beautiful life accident, let's say, that the calendar was overbooked, so our venue was not available. So we came here on Kadri's most secure place on the planet, I hope, and having this beautiful setup ready already before we came. It's a great honor to be at Kadri's home and really have this open heart talk and really sharing these thoughts of what we want to see in the world. And as we know, we are the examples of what change we want in the world. Welcome, Kadri.
Welcome home.
Thank you. So Kadri, I would like to share one story before to see that we all are connected in this story. Is that me and Kadri were having a having a conversation, very philosophical, and this one special moment when we were so deep in this way and deep this way, that both of us were suddenly like, oh, wow, where were we? Where are we? And this blasted our minds with the question of what's the secrets of life? And that's the idea of the podcast, to open up different stories, different viewpoints, to see what's the real deep secrets in life. And you are a very great example of what's opening up your heart and speaking your truth. What do you feel? Is the nowadays world really ready to listen and hear out the truth of you and many other people?
Okay, thank you, Toomas. It's a great honor. Maybe it's not about if world is ready, if you are ready, and if you get ready, then the world aligns. So it's about ourselves recognizing if I am ready. So if I am ready, then I speak it, and it's a learning process. If you're talking about speaking your truth, then first you need to get in touch, like what is your truth, and then start translating your truth into the world that needs to hear your truth. So it's a transformational process.
So how long have you been in this journey?
Forever,
but like really recognizing that, wow, I'm open-minded, I'm mindful of the things that are happening around me.
It's a subtle process, and it builds up gradually. But it's like carrying something small every day. You bring a piece from one place to another, and then one day you just find yourself reflecting on where you've been, and then you see, oh, a whole pile of abundance I have been carrying here, and now I have this, and this is the moment of appreciation. So everything, it's the process of transformation and opening, and everything has its own internal flow. And one of the, if you're talking about the secrets, then on my opinion, this one of those keys is subtleness. It's a subtle process. The more subtle you become, the more potential there is. So it's learning process, not trying to force it. So it's relaxing into opening process, not trying to force, not trying to control. So it's surrendering, basically. This is my inbuilt strategy.
Perfect. Surrender. But do you have any example when you felt latest period that you completely let go, let yourself free, and surrender to the process or to the conversation or emotion. Many options.
I think maybe mostly during the past year, when I have found myself putting myself into situations where I know that it requires new skills, so that I practice surrender and I practice being present. And for example, this here, like how we meet today, there is no preparation other than the lives we have been living, preparing for this moment, being here and now. So there is no, the setup is ready, we are here. So putting yourself into the situation where you trust the flow, and you trust yourself, and you trust your truth. So just let it flow.
So I'm hoping that you are having the same flow as we are here. I'm already like like flying a little. So keep with me, keep with us, and let's just go with the flow, enjoy the ride, because it's not a short ride, it's a long marathon ride.
Let's take our time.
Yes, exactly. So if you have any comments, ideas, just post them and share your feedback, any thoughts you come up with this. So Kadri, you were telling about speaking your truth. Would you like to open up what's the truth for you, or how is the truth being built in our society?
Well, first of all, such concepts as truth or love or peace, they're so abstract. So there is it needs a whole system of consciousness, how to operate it, to how even to approach those concepts. So for me, it's very interesting. I'm very passionate about learning the systems behind the systems. So everything is building up on something, and what we see, what is just like the final outcome, this is the densest level. So I'm so much interested, like what's like, if you go inside, or like what's behind it, what's the blueprint behind everything. So if you ask me about truth, what is the blueprint of truth, or what is truth, then how I sense it, it's value, it's a certain frequency. So everything around us, it's an ocean of information, it's energy, and how it's forming, it has its blueprint. So there is a blueprint for truth. But since we are all individuals in individual consciousness, so how we relate to it, we give different meanings to it. So there is one blueprint, and we can connect to it, but we give it our own meaning, as we are personalities with our own personal perception. But truth is, if I approach it now from this angle, is also, it's basically a filter that you can use in a process of making decisions. And when you go through your life, then each moment offers you a choice, like which direction, yes, no, yes, no. So how do you make those decisions? If you would only use your logical mind, there is so much information that you could never like just hack through it with your thoughts, with your logical mind, because the capacity of human brain at this point, it's limited. So there needs to be another layer that you can tap into to use in your decision-making process. So it makes you so much, it gives you ease and flow. So the next layer above the mind are values. So okay, it's a longer ride, but the values can come either from inside or outside. So if they come from outside, then it's information feed into your system. So if you believe that, if there is your authority, then you believe the information from outside, and then you build up your reality using this information blocks. Somebody has given meaning to this information, so you adopt it and you start believing it. So your reality is built up on those meanings that somebody else has already been giving to the information. So when you perform an identity shift, which means that you first realize your true own identity, and you hook your identity to this inner authority. So the information comes from inside out, and then you tune into it. Then this inner authority, which is our higher being, it has its own blueprint as well. So we all have our unique creational code, and that consists the basic values that we carry. Like I carry certain values in my soul, and they're coming from my higher being. So when I connect to this realm, or I connect my identity to this value level, it means I operate on this level. So each decision I make, it's an instant calculation in each moment. Like, what is truthful? Is this according to my values? So it's not about wrong or right anymore, and it's not about finding. You don't have to solve the equation somebody else has given you. You have freedom. It gives you freedom to operate on your own fuel.
Wow. So that's a very deep discussion here. I hope you are with us, but we are just building up. So let's be mindful. We're growing. We're getting there, wow. I also had this feeling when I was looking in the eyes of Kadri that my eyes started to cry, and I was like, okay, what's going on, Toomas? Why are you crying? It's so beautiful, you know? And then I understood that, okay, I'm crying because of the beauty of the deep thought, or the deep structure of thoughts. And it really went into me, and I really felt it. And that's one of the values that I've learned from Kadri, is to truly feel all the ideas through your body, and you really feel it. Because for example, when you're breaking up with somebody, or you're in love or something, then you have to really go deep dive with this feeling in your body. And if you fully feel it, then you can accept it and let it go if you want it, of course. And then it's true freedom, and it's been very helpful for me as well. But I came up with the idea of while you were talking about being in service. So that's one of my core values that I see myself. If there is an option or discussion point to do this or that, if this can help someone to grow, or someone to be better, or get better in some stuff that he or she is doing, then I will be happy to help and share and be there. So I'm really finding this one of the key values and truth that I'm sending out. What pops up your mind when you think about your core values that you keep as a crystals in your heart?
Well, I just have two ideas, two flows.
Yes.
That when we were talking about this decision-making process, which means you as a whole, you are operating on your fullest potential. So this process that we were describing about how to make decisions, this is connecting your mind level and spirit level. But human being it's a holistic beauty. So it has other realms, and there are 4 different realms that I daily acknowledge. There's like 4 different dimensions that exist separately, but at the same time simultaneously, inseparably. So it's your mind, everything rational. It's your spirit. This is the these are the two male principles, but then you also have soul, which carries the information of your of the spirit, but in a bit wider spectrum than this specific life. And then there's this physical body. So when you get all those different dimensions sorted up, tapped in, tuned in, everything, get yourself working, then when you have healed yourself, you make yourself whole again, then you can be at service. If you haven't done it, then you have to serve yourself first to make yourself whole, because your cup needs to be full, and when your cup is full, then it overflows without restricting yourself, without straining yourself. Then you just become you are at service, and that's a privilege. So I circled back to your question.
And you feel right now that your cup is overflowing of abundance, and you are.
Life is not black and white. Like it's a flowing process, and it's about being on the path. It's about embodying the concept of being on the journey. So it's exactly how I describe this. You're building it up every day, and at one point you understand, okay, I can truly now say, yes, I feel my cup is full, because I really feel it. I haven't felt it before, but now I feel it. So I have a reference point, and that's the only reference we can have. You can only compare yourself with yourself, because your full is different than my full. We are on different parts of our journeys. Yes. So I'm very curious, where will it all lead us? Because now when you start creating from inside out, then it has impact.
Yeah, but do you have any practical things or exercises that you do daily based that keeps you in this cupful state of mind and body?
Well, there are different it's like how much it's about training yourself to place attention on those 4 different dimensions, taking care of for your parts. Like it's maintenance, basically, what we're talking about. You need to develop self-maintenance, and that's self-care. And it's authentic when it comes from self-love. So self-care is self-love in action. So the self-maintenance is also about, it's not about discipline, it's about devotion. So I need to take care of myself to be at service. It's for my own and for everybody's greater well-being. So when you ask about more practical tips, then it's actually very simple. When it comes down to practical things, it's just like your day consists of hours, minutes, and the more you are able to train yourself to be present in each moment, okay, how do I operate this moment? What is my state? What is my emotional state? What is my physical state? What is my mental state? And how connected am I with myself? So if you tune into this, like each moment gives us feedback. Something happens, and then we can react or respond. So, okay, becoming a bit more practical. Yeah. So those simple things, understanding that there is flow of the day. How do I make myself land safely into this moment, into my body each moment? So in the morning, you have already made an agreement with yourself. Your morning starts with your previous evening. So how you go into your sleep state actually determines how you wake up. So you prepare your moments, your next moments. So you make safe space for you to sleep, for your body. So you switch off all electricity, all these devices that give these all kind of vibrations that wouldn't penetrate your space, your personal space. It's for everybody. It's how you set up your room, the temperature, the cleanness, everything. That all matters. And then you wake up, and it's very important, how you come out from the sleep state. What is the feeling, and then the first thoughts. You wake yourself up into this day, and it's successful when you remember that that's the only day current at this moment. This is the only day. Okay, so it's easy to say, but we tend to forget. So that's why I have. Here comes in this word ritual. So I have built up my life using small rituals. So instead of using discipline, I use rituals, which means I give meaning to the moment, to this action, the act I'm performing, and that helps me be present and appreciate the moment and be in tune with my values and with my emotions, with my body. So you wake up and there is a morning ritual. So it's different for everybody, but for me it's first recognizing that the bed is really comfortable, and I greet my cat, and and we have this little intimate moment. And usually in the morning, before leaving my bed, I do some reflecting work. I write in my journal, then do stretches, cold shower every morning. That's something I don't want to skip anymore, and so on. So you get the point. So you build up your day, and it's necessary your private time where you build up the awareness and being whole. So when you expose yourself to outer environments, then you're prepared to relate to it, so that you don't lose your wholeness. And then you take back you return to yourself by the end of the day, and you're successful if you have been keeping space, holding space for yourself and taking care of yourself. And so this is, I think, this is the main like work we actually need to do, because in the end of the day, it's important how we feel, what is the experience, what is the we have a contact, and we separate. How do I leave you feeling? How do you leave me feeling? What is the impact of this alchemical process of two substances meeting? So taking care of yourself, and that's the gift you can give.
So be very, very mindful of your state of mind when you wake up, all of your acts that we do every day, and really be conscious of the thoughts we leave here or get outside, and then process. And what's the process like?
Yeah, but it's also very important to relax into it. So you're not like sticking to it. Like when you have been training yourself long enough, then you don't have to worry that you will like hop off, because it pulls you back. You know, we are habitual beings, which means we have all those patterns. Our body and our brain is built up so that it's like a garden or a forest. Like I like to think that our inner queendom, it's like it's a garden surrounded with forest, and the outer part, the subconscious mind, there are all those like pathways, and these are the thought forms, and we walk these paths like, okay, I am this person, I do things like this, I walk this path every day. So it's imprinted into our system, into our brain, into our body. So it creates habits in all levels of being. In mind, so those are the thought forms, how we think, and these create emotional reactions. It triggers emotional processes. And it also impacts our body, so it's so related. It's inseparable. So now when you decide, or when you how do you say it, you just like become aware that it's possible to choose other paths, different thought forms. Like you're not in this frame of, okay, only like this. So it starts from a decision. Okay, I make a decision that I change. And this triggers a whole process. But that also means that there is a whole journey of rewriting those patterns. And this is the time we need to be compassionate with ourselves. Because this is the period of rewriting all those patterns that have been creating the reality that you experience because of this setup of habits. So it's about creating new habits, but being aware that which habits you create, and after some time always review them, like, is it serving me, is it not serving me? But if you have inner guidance, then you have instant feedback anyway. But it's about like letting go and not like having to have everything set all the time and fixed. It's like relaxing into it, like trusting I can do this. You know, it's not easy. It's deep stuff, and it's a lot of work, but it's worth it. it's really worth it, and nobody else can do it for you. So changing your paths, it's and the biggest trigger is self-love. It all needs to start from there. Otherwise it's I would say it's maybe it's not so loving, and then it's not so fun. Yeah.
So Kadri, I remember like a year ago or something like that, when we were on this deep learning process.
Deep Laya.
Deep Laya, yes. And it's really interesting to see how, at least for me, to see how you develop and how you've learned in this process of very deep connection we have. How do you see the process of healing, and what's the guidelines or guidance if somebody is also in this process? Most of us are in this conscious or subconscious way. But how to kind of recognize yourself, how to use gratefulness in this process, and what's the few steps that we should all be noticing when we are in this collective new reality change right now? Do you want to speak a little about your healing process? How was it? Just to get to know a little for you as well.
How I understand healing has actually also changed through time. Because when I started this journey that I thought I need to heal myself, which was really very deep decision, because there was no other choice for me left anymore. I either need to face all the stuff and really accept it. And then I thought I'm going through this healing process, and it's also true. But what is more true today is that it's not about getting there or improving or developing or healing. It's about attunement, because I'm actually already there. I am whole. I can't even say healed, because the deep core part of me is never broken. So it's very different point of view how to approach healing. It's actually about letting go. It's about tuning into yourself. But let's say when you're really lost in this forest where there are so many paths, and they take you into those places where you actually don't want to be, then it's difficult to comprehend that. So what has really helped me is actually, it's not about the techniques that somebody is offering you or tips somebody is giving you. It's about the inspiration that sparks when you meet somebody who authentically embodies and is a living proof that it's possible. You know, we all have this deeper calling in our souls to, you know, to bloom, to fulfill our potential. We all have it in our soul, and it's crying out. And that's why we're all, people are so suffering, because the soul inside is crying to express its beauty and harmony, but it just it's compressed in the inner blockages and all those walls. So it's finding way, you know, energy wants to find way, and if the pathways are disharmonious, then it creates disharmonious or destructive behaviors and habits and life. So coming back to this, what is important is the spark of inspiration, that we can inspire each other. You know, I have been there, you know, I have been very deep in the forest, completely lost. But I had this spark, you know, somebody has, you know, like lighten up. And it gives me strength to establish the courage and belief, and gives me the packet of energy that I can start moving and finding my own path. So when I come back to my personal healing story, very long story short, the story itself, it's not so important anymore, but I have had bigger issues with being separate from my body and having all these like distortions in my mind about self-image, and like my feminine energy has been distressed and suppressed, and distortions in this flow of this energy. So problems with food and connecting, like completely separating myself, like living very long period with an eating disorder. And okay, long story short.
No, please continue.
I had tried all kinds of things, techniques, teachings. Okay, how can I hack this thing? Can you please help me? Nobody could help me. Nothing helped. So there was nothing left then for me to, okay, I am ready. I will do this myself. I liberate myself. So, and when I started, there were few people on this planet that gave me an example that it's possible. So inspiration is like a spark of energy. It's like starting packet. Okay, here's your starting energy. Boom, thank you. So you have this, and this is this deep decision-making process. But now, when you start walking along the path, then you need to be prepared, because this energy wears off, and then you stumble upon all those daily built-in reactions. So you need to be ready. So you need to prepare yourself with these little hacks how to get back on the track. And so it's a lot of work, a lot of inner work.
And that's why we're here for.
For work?
Not for work.
Or for fun. Yeah, because in the end, it's like, it's not infinite, you know, it's this, when you are in this healing process, you think it will never end. It's like, it's crazy stuff, but it's at one point, the scales, the tables turn, and the scales, the ratios change. So when you have created a new pathway strong enough, then you walk your new path. And then when I was talking about specifically the feminine energy that needs to be unleashed and healed and transformed back into harmonious pathways, how it could express itself, then it has incredible power of transforming everything through love into pleasure. So in the end, you can, all the suffering, all the pain, it has capacity to transform all negative energies through love into pleasure, into bliss. And women have also the capacity to do it also for men. That's pretty incredible. Yeah. So that's why it's so important that women would really work work with their inner garden.
I would say that if you are the vibration of the change you want to see in the world, then everything aligns, like Kadri likes to say. And that's something we need to be mindful of, to really feel that we are full of love, we are full of gratitude, we're living in the service, we want to change, and we are the example of it. So thank you for bearing with us in this first half of the show tonight, and we'll see you in a bit. Thank you. Welcome back at this Deep Secrets show. Tonight we are hosting Kadris, beautiful soul, mind, body over here in this reality that we are together, and so happy to fully finally realize our small dream, to have this spark of inspiration from ourselves outside and really to make a change in the world. And what I feel right now is one of the key topics that we are at in this collective, massive change in history, in all humanity times, is today's world, and one of the key elements of this whole collective understanding of life is hooked by something very special, very strong, and it's called fear. Do you feel any fear, Kadri, or you feel that you are open spark and light and full guidance?
Well, I am an instrument, which means it's the body, the system is an instrument of perception. It's like radio. It catches the radio waves, and how you tune it, then it plays the music or news or whatever you make it play, right? So everybody's instrument is all the time receiving waves, energy, and we are surrounded with all kind of energy waves. So there is fear, and sometimes I experience it, and it has its function. But I have placed this phenomenon as fear into a place in my world that it doesn't have greater power over me. And when we are talking about how the reality is built up, it has levels of logic. And the reality is it's like packed into this one thing happening at the same time, but they're like different frequencies, and the energy is divided by the quality, how it's systemized. Okay, let's put it like this. Everything has its own vibration. So do different energies. So fear, it has its own certain frequency, and actually it's not very high, it's actually very low. So when we talk about fear, and when we talk about whatever subject, and we could go into discussion like, okay, what's happening in the world, who's ruling over who's being manipulated, who's manipulator, what's the situation of this chess play, what's the scene. It's interesting to observe all this, but we need to understand it's on a certain level of logic, and that's not the discussion that holds conflict or confrontation is always lower frequency. So if we want to understand something, then we need to upgrade our understanding how to relate to this discussion. So if we lift the conversation to the level of like seeing it from above, then fear is just a frequency, and the key is not to fight the fear or fear. We can decide ourselves where we dedicate our energy, and there is a simple universal law that everything that you give your attention, your energy, that grows. So instead of fighting the fear or even descending into the discussions of what is wrong or right, I would say let's just go straight above it and discuss it on a level that not even discuss, but let's tune ourselves so that we are not longer available for such frequencies. So I have my own frequency. I govern my inner world. So I choose what are the vibrations. I'm attuned with my higher values. So this is my frequency. So if fear comes, it's just like the hooks doesn't have this grip how to hold me, and I feel it coming. I just like, okay, I accept it's there, and then I just like pass through. But of course, when we are in a vulnerable position or more, let's say, prone to be attacked, when we are not so whole, when we are weaker, then we have those like cracks where things can, hook, the energies can hook, and also we can be weak so that we have leakages in ourselves as well. So these are like holes where lower frequent energies can penetrate our subconscious, and then the drill
will open up.
Yep.
I had this feeling in Estonia when the whole crisis hit. So we had this special law or special stuff going on. So everything was putting on pause in the society. That I think in the first 3 to 4 days, I fully felt this inner not being in balance, and a lot of fear that struck me so badly that I already started thinking that I'm sick of everything that's around us or said to be around us. So I felt that this was one of the key elements for me to get understanding of the options or the fear capability to control you, to have these leaks inside you, or to break you down little by little, and just to recognizing and then coming out of this situation with conscious like a learning process, and understanding that this was here to give you a lesson. And now I'm thankful for this experience, and I'm gonna just send it away and keep my energy flow in this guarded castle, like you said before. But do you have this, or how do you get this understanding that this is a fear that is distracting me, and this is what I can be mindful or conscious of? How do you recognize? Because there's so many different angles of fear coming into our reality.
The simplest way is just to recognize being present, whatever is happening, and accept it, and then land back into your body. Like establish your original state. That's it.
And how long have you been so mindful of understanding these steps?
It's
a whole process, I know, but is there like...
I think the past few months have been really powerful learning curve. Since we all have our individual processes, but it's we are all part of a greater whole. So it's like huge wave, and this individual part that we are carrying is contributing to bigger evolvement. So at this point, what's happening, how I see it, how I feel it, is that there are massive changes at this point. And at the same time where a lot of people are operating on this polarization, what's wrong or right. It makes people reflect their values, actually. And the contrasts are becoming more visual and understand. It's like we're exposed to more and more concept of truth and lie, so we have to choose all the time. So it really makes us develop ourselves. It makes us grow, because there is nowhere else to go. This gray area is getting narrower and narrower. So which means you have to start either making decisions and grow, or go deeper into the state of ignorance.
State of ignorance. Do you see it a lot in the today's, or
Yeah,
how much you have this?
I do feel I don't want to put myself in this position. We are all equally, we are creation, everybody's equal. So I would like to address those, what is common between us, not what's separating. So I would even rather not go into there, but it's about, okay, we are here, we are awake, like what's going on? Let's surf the wave, let's be open to it, let's open our minds, open our hearts, and create, like stepping into a creative power and not opposing to anyone. It's just like, okay, if you like this tragedy, hop on board, that's it. No confronting or giving judgments. So where were we?
What's your strategy in this collective situation right now? What do you see that's...
Well, I've been describing this tragedy. It's, we create the world that we like to, we create the surrounding where we love to live. So first, I water my inner garden and take the weeds out, and then I create my home, and then the relationship I have with myself reflects on all the relationship I have with all the other people and situations and organizations, everything. So your inner world is reflecting in the outer world. So like most of your life is actually going on inside. And then you just show up and have this like brief, conversation and like, okay, let's like change like how you've been doing,
Oh, yeah.
So bring me back a bit, Toomas. Where were we? You were asking the strategy. Yes.
Because I find it's a very me and Kadri had a beautiful session at a random house. We went to on a weekend getaway to go deep into visioning, and we went to on this house. We had the Airbnb booked by, I don't know, 2 hours before, and then they accepted. Thank you for this. And then when we got to the house, we already had a communication that maybe you can come a little later. We were like, okay, what's going on? Need to clean or something. But it was an old, very old wooden old farmhouse, and it didn't have much heating system, so it was heated by some small heaters, and so when we got there, it was full of cold air. We couldn't even take any clothes off, so we step by step started to get some warmth, yes, and then went to deep by deep, and it's just for me really Kadri had this special gift to open my visionary state, that I started to understand the power in myself, and it really unleashed like every step by step, because we had this discussion part, then we were separated, then we had our own writing sessions, and then we got back together, made some food, had some tea, then went separate again. And it really, if you have someone, you can do such a great inner work, that you have your own space and time, but at the same time you have this trust feeling of someone whom you can speak anything, and so deep that the recognition and the state of mind is similar, or even going deeper, then the whole new world opens. So I'm really grateful for this weekend. We survived. We opened up in the morning, we're like, wow.
We started surviving, ended up thriving.
Yes. So
it was nice.
Yeah, so I got a lot of inspiration on visioning, and also as a strategy is based on the vision, so it's very important to have the vision set and fully reflecting the strategy, and this is where I came up.
If you ask me about the strategy, I would like to give it a voice. You mentioned vision, so it's very important particle of the equation. So we were talking about those blueprints, that we all have our own original blueprint, which I call the code of creation. I have my personal code of creation, and that consists of different like tools that are the different values that I basically translate to the world. So the process is to have this pick up this moment where you have this grace of God of having the opportunity to flip your mind and have the moment of openness and inspiration and daily accept it and accept change. And this that enables the process of like a bigger process to open up, becoming present, first making decision, identity shift, bringing your authority from outside to inside. So identifying yourself by your highest, the purest, highest values, always doing your best to embody them. It's a daily work, and doing it really humbly, and it gives you the integrity of having, when you really live your truth and embody it, then it's free of guilt, it's free of shame. Because when you intend to live life that you don't have to regret anything or hurt anyone or apply your will on somebody, it's like freedom, like love, freedom, creativity, co-creation, like working, like creating together, working together, collaboration. So it's aligning with your tools, and this is setting the environment where you can receive the higher visions that we have as those spiritual beings that we are. So we already have those visions, and those visions actually, let me tell you honestly, where we are now collectively, and what frequencies are opening up for us as collective, are completely from like different worlds, different dimensions. So with this toolbox that we have as humans, we can't really describe it or put it into words, and there's no need for that as well. So when we're talking about visions, I think those days are over that we have to describe what we want and when we want to have it and how we will have it. It's like making plan is different. It's completely in tuning yourself, being present and creating in the given moment, being present and all the time encountering the moment and what it offers you. And then just so your inner world and outer world are all the time like an intercourse with each other. And this is creating the spark. And when you're not limiting with yourself, it has to be like this or this or this. You just release attachment of how things need to be. Because when you don't need to find security from having things fixed, which actually means that you're operating on control. Like you get security, the feeling of security, which is the base feeling that we need to have. If it comes from control, then you're not self-sustaining, because if it's affected by something else out of force, then if somebody affects it, you lose it. But if you lose it, then you're lost. So you need to build yourself up so that you're creating your security yourself. So you create the state yourself. You create the states of freedom. You create the state of love. So you tune into those values and you hold the space. You just keeping the space for higher frequencies, and that gives you immunity at all levels, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. And by doing so, you don't even have to think of what do I have to do, how to protect myself. You know, you can go through those ideas, but basically if you're just present and embody peace and daily embrace it and hold it, then that's it. It's just the presence.
100% agree. But lately I've understood that the whole keeping your level and your embodiment and all your alignments, it's way much easier if you have people around you.
Absolutely.
If you have people or community that are breathing the same way, it's very magical. And we are happy to both have this feeling and truly have these loving people, and who really take care of ourselves as well, and whom we can humbly serve, and that's so magical.
It's that's true magic of life, actually, when you have
Wow.
So, you know, it's like, it's such a freedom. It's this feeling of loneliness that we are so haunted when we are stuck in the feeling of loneliness, being alienated from basically from everything. When you open yourself up and establish this, you become yourself. So you remove the mask. You don't relate from the mask is not communicating with the mask on a superficial level. You remove the mask and you communicate from the space who you really are. Then this true connection can happen. And this is the level, this is the depth that we all desire from relationships. And if we share the same values, then it's like power plug.
Power plug.
And then you have
Boom.
you know, it's all about, you know, plugging.
Yes, plugging in.
So we form the circuit, and that's how it's so important. First yourself, and then your surrounding, then connection with other people, community, and then humanity, and then the whole universe. That's my strategy.
That's Kadri's strategy, to go deep, you know. Boom, boom, boom. Watch out, Kadri is coming.
It's about connections between people, and that's the networking that we're doing, because the greater wave is evoking us all to open up on a new level of honesty, of communicating who we are. And I see many people have difficulties to accept, to give chance, to open up more deeper level. We call it like the spiritual level, but the word itself, the meaning of it, it has like tricky connotations. So many people are afraid of this spirituality or like esoteric stuff. It's like, you know, we don't look at it because it's this, it has bad reputation, but actually it's like a layer of like, how do you call it? Jälgede segamine. It's
not cleaning, but
you know, it's like it's hidden. So anyway, you know, to have the courage of like opening up your mind and connecting with your, like really expanding your awareness and thinking more widely and opening up to the understanding that we are greater beings than this, just the story that we have been telling. Hello, I'm Kadri Rinaldo, I'm from there doing this so many years, da 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 da. Actually, it's just like, it doesn't even matter. What matters, who we really are. And it's really time for us to accept our deeper identity. And that's a very deep power source. But that doesn't mean that we are somewhere up there. It just gives us greater, more solid presence actually being here now. You know, we are, you know, connected with the underworld, upper world. We are aware what's happening. We see the bigger picture. It helps us to operate on this level, on this like earthly plane. So how to lead a spiritual life walking mundane shoes. So it's not about like when we are in action in every day, it's not about we're speaking those abstract thoughts. It's about the actions, the quality of actions that we take, what needs to be done. Very like, let's make a plan, like let's do this, you know, taking care of things, like really operating things very neatly. So because there is this alignment, greater picture, so it helps us to be in service better, also like washing dishes, serving your community, running projects, whatever. So it's not about escaping this plane, it's about more, even grounding yourself more and being more present here. So roots and the top.
Thank you, Kadri. Thank you for your sincere truth that comes from your heart, and I could really feel it. I'm so close here. I hope you had the same vibrations over there. And my last question would be: I will launch this show just before the New Year's and after the Christmas. What do you think? What's the message for you to think of in the end of the 2020?
Keep things simple, super simple. It's just in each moment to keep peace, keep it simple, and prioritize things, go deeper, look at your life, your relationships with compassionate eyes. Being compassionate with yourself and those close around you, and really not go wide, not to be overwhelmed, trying to understand, have all the questions, just being present in the moment and keeping it cool.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for being with us. It was a very deep show. Just a little spontaneous trip that we come together here. Just a few days before I talked to Kadri that
I received a phone call. Okay, let's do this.
So it all aligns so well that we are here together with this beautiful team. Thank you, Sten. Thank you, Otto. Thank you, Lisbeth, Ainika, Okeiko, and Diko. And let's have a guest on stage as well. We had a very special guest on the show tonight, and let's say his name is present and he's always there with us. And we have the lights, so it's a beautiful moment that we shared together, and we'll definitely see you and talk to you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Toomas.
I love you, Kadri. Aitäh. Aitäh, Kadris.